Can you see this picture? You and Daddy. So I wrote, my mother, Ruth Esther Schnitzer, grew up in Brooklyn and married my father, Arthur, in 1942, when she was just 18 years old. She was blonde, pretty, and petite, just under 5 feet tall, and wore her hair in a pixie cut that suited her feisty personality. Ruth's father escaped Russia by boat, Louis, to avoid the persecution of Jews in Europe. He went to work in a sweatshop in New York's garment district, striving to give his children better opportunities than he had. With his encouragement, Ruth loved to read and learn. She continued taking college classes most of her adult life. My mom, that's you, right, gave birth to my brother Gil during World War II when she was 19 years old, and moved in with her parents when my father, Arthur, shipped out with the Navy. Mom worked at the military base while my grandmother cared for my brother. Should I keep reading? Ma? Want me to keep reading? You like it? When my dad got out of the service, Gil was 2 years old, and my grandmother and Mom were so protective that Dad could hardly have a relationship with him. Naturally, when I was born, 5 years later, Dad showered me with affection. I adored him as much as he adored me. He was carefree and upbeat, always telling jokes or singing show tunes. He spoiled me, and sometimes I wondered if that's why my mom was so hard on me. Maybe she resented me in some ways. In any case, if she had been one of today's mothers, Ruth would have fallen into the tough love camp. If I spilled my milk, a quick slap was sure to follow. She was always nervous and ready with a harsh word if you displeased her. Once, for instance, Gil and I gave our parents an electric blanket for an anniversary present, and she immediately said that she didn't like it and was going to return it. Mom was adamant that I should make the most of myself. She ordered summer reading materials and wouldn't let me out to play until I mastered one lesson every day. I fought those lessons, especially the summer that she handed me particularly difficult assignments that turned out to be for children a grade ahead of me. Mom later bragged about how she made me a better reader by making me study. I felt like I was being tortured and disliked reading for years. When I was a junior in high school, we moved to Great Neck, Long Island, an affluent New York suburb. We want you to better yourself, Mom explained when I cried about leaving our apartment in Queens. Should I keep reading? Mom, you like the story? This move was my father's idea too. He grew up in Manhattan on the Lower East Side, where his father had a push cart selling vegetables. Dad earned a college degree in accounting and always thought he'd be rich someday. We were never wealthy, but he owned a gas station, a variety store, and a tiny factory that made household items sewn by people with disabilities. Living in this better neighborhood made me feel more insecure. I longed for Papagala shoes in every color, cosmetic surgery to my nose, and a grand piano. My mother's favorite word seemed to be no. And then one day the dog wasn't there. Mom had returned it to the animal shelter because the dog didn't bark when strangers came to the door. What's the point of having a dog if he's no good as a watchdog, she said, ignoring my tears. These small resentments and harsh words added up to me feeling anger toward my mother. Right through my teens, I longed to trade her in for someone warmer and more nurturing. I didn't realize how far my mother's Alzheimer's had progressed until 3 years later, when I flew down to visit and experienced a terrible shock. My mother, always proud of her appearance and housekeeping, was dressed in dirty, disheveled clothing. She looked like a bag lady. When I asked if she wanted to comb her hair, Mom picked up her toothbrush and used that. She hadn't flushed the toilet. Her mirrors were so covered in dirt and that it was impossible to see your reflection. Her kitchen cabinets and microwave were coated with food drippings. It was clear she had no idea what food was in her refrigerator, if she had eaten, or how to use the microwave. I tried to talk Mom into moving to New York. That's you. My dad had been dead for 15 years, and I thought she'd want to live closer to me. New York is her childhood home. But she was still, and still is, steadfast in her determination to stay in Florida, where she'd been so happy with my dad. At age 96, staying at home provides her with a safe haven. I called Gil, now a doctor, and we sat down with our mother to announce we were hiring a woman to look after her. Mom was adamant that she didn't need anyone. I'm not a child, she said, pouting. We hired help anyway, a saintly woman who comes each day to be sure Mom is bathed, dressed, and fed. Meanwhile, I visit when I can and call her every day. Even now, Mom is feisty and energetic. In a strange way, she seems more joyful and alive than ever. I argue with myself about this. What does it mean to be alive? My mom, once such a go-getter that she attended college lectures at night, can no longer go out on her own, for fear, can't keep playing this, of getting lost. She sleeps long hours and at odd times, and spends many waking hours with only the television for company. Yet my mom, who I once argued with every day of my life, has become a delight. She can make me laugh no matter what my mood. She spontaneously breaks into a dance steps or song lyrics. If she can't remember the words to a song, she makes them up. She's a champion speller, too. I give her words to spell on the phone to help keep her mind sharp. You're the spelling queen of Florida, I praise her, even as I wonder how this is possible. It takes a memory to spell, yet Mom has no idea what day it is or sometimes even who is talking with her. Mom inspires me every day with her courage, strength, and joy. She has become wise and supportive, just like those warm, loving TV mothers of my childhood. I miss her, but I also cherish every moment of this new relationship. After I was married and had a child of my own, I'd get excited when Mom came to visit from Florida. Then I couldn't wait until she left because all we did was argue. She'd start fights with me and say she never coming to visit again because I was crazy. I'd tell my husband that I never wanted to see her again, but every year the same pattern repeated itself. What were we getting out of it? How is it possible that I can only realize how deeply I love her now? I am not for 1 second trying to diminish the trauma. Oh my God.